I'm going to start with this, and there's a lot more to go. So stick with us. New York Post, Iranian murder for hire plot against President Trump revealed as 2 New Yorkers also busted and planned to kill journalists. Now, let's stop right here. Isn't it enough to take out that bastard regime? This constant threat now against an elected president of the United States? I'm serious, folks. Maybe I'm just getting too old. I remember a day when you did something like that, we would take out these people. I'm serious. Instead, our government subsidizes them. Iran instructed one of its agents running a New York City-based criminal network to stalk and assassinate former President Donald Trump in the 2024 election's final weeks, telling him that, quote, money is not an issue, the feds revealed today. An unnamed official in Iran's notorious Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps tasked 51 during September to, quote, focus on surveilling and ultimately assassinating Trump, according to a bombshell criminal complaint unsealed today by Manhattan federal prosecutors. The complaint charges Shakiri, who remains at large, he's still at large, with murder for hire, as well as 2 New York City men in separate assassination plots targeting a prominent Brooklyn journalist who's been a thorn in the side of the Tehran regime and a pair of unidentified Jewish business people. When Shakiri told his mysterious handler that Trump plot would cost a huge amount of money, the Iranian official hinted at other Tehran-backed attempts to murder the former president, the complaint states. Shouldn't we take this regime out? It's not hard. Shouldn't we at least allow the Israelis to do it? Shouldn't we stop funding them? Harris, Biden, the other reprobates? In a phone conversation with an FBI agent, Shakiri, who did time in U.S. prisons for robbery, said the Iranian official told him October 7 to have a plan in place to kill Trump within 7 days, quote unquote. If Shakiri did not meet his deadline, the contact allegedly said the hit on Trump would be postponed until after the November 5 election because Tehran officials believed that the Republican nominee would lose, and after it would be easier to assassinate him, quote unquote. Imagine being Donald Trump living with this over your head. The charges were unsealed 3 days after Trump defeated Harris to become the 47th president-elect. It's the latest example of what officials have described as ongoing efforts by Iran to target Trump and other current and former government officials on U.S. soil. This is war. Even the isolationists, even the protectionists, even the moronists, they should know that this is war. They're threatening Donald Trump again. The complaint, which refers to the president-elect as victim 4, also charges Brooklyn native Carlisle Rivera, 49, and Staten Islander Jonathan Lodeholt, 36, with murder for hire, conspiracy to commit murder for hire, and money laundering conspiracy. Rivera and Lodeholt were ordered held pending trial. Shakiri, who's believed to be in Iran and out of the reach of the United States, is also charged with conspiring to violate U.S. sanctions against Iran and so forth. He spoke with FBI agents by phone 5 times before late September and as recently as Thursday in hopes of obtaining a sentence reduction for an unnamed person in the U.S. prison system. Now, the complaint details that Shakiri was born in Afghanistan and emigrated to the U.S. as a child, but was deported in 2008 after serving a 14-year prison sentence for robbery. During his time behind bars, Shakiri met Rivera and Lodeholt, later recruiting them to be hitmen, according to the complaint. Now, the Fed say Shakiri initially tasked his cohorts with killing Iranian-American activist and journalist Masha Alinejad. We've seen her on Fox. She's a brilliant and courageous lady. An outspoken critic of the Tehran regime has been targeted for assassination in the past by Iran. So here they are. They want to take out Trump, take out Pompeo, take out O'Brien, take out Bolton, take out this lady. And we sit here, giving them money and everything? Rivera and Lodeholt pursued Alinejad for 9 months, surveilling her Brooklyn home, this is the journalist, and planning to watch one of her talks at Fairfield University in Connecticut. One point, Rivera allegedly complained to Shakiri, this BH is hard to catch, bro. Iran offered Shakiri $1.5 million to kill her, and in turn he promised Rivera and Lodlock $100,000 to carry out the dastardly deed, and it goes on. Shakiri also told the FBI he had been instructed by Iran to plot a mass shooting targeting Israeli tourists in Sri Lanka, which prompted the U.S. and Israel governments to issue a travel warning for the island nation on October 23. Actors directed by the government of Iran continue to target our citizens, including President-elect Trump, on U.S. soil and abroad, Manhattan U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said in a statement. This has to stop. The only way it stops is if we take them out before they take us out. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. They keep threatening the sitting president, or soon-to-be sitting president of the United States, wanted to interfere with our election in a most diabolical and murderous way. And then there's this. You know what's amazing about what I'm about to discuss with you? What's amazing about this is how few leaders in our country have spoken out about this. What are you talking about? I'm talking about Amsterdam. Do you know what happened in Amsterdam? I'll tell you what happened in Amsterdam. You had the Israeli soccer team playing the team in Amsterdam. And that Israeli soccer team, thousands of fans from Israel and all over the world, Jewish fans, came to watch them. They lost 5-0. Of course, that's not the story. The story is that thousands of free Palestine, I have to assume Arabs, Muslims, jihadists, on the 86th anniversary of Kristallnacht, laid in wait to attack them, brutalize them, and even kill them. So you literally had citizens from Israel and other parts of the world who came to watch this soccer game, running for their lives, beaten viciously in the streets. The most latest intelligence shows that this was in the works, this plan, for several days before the soccer game. The Palestinian spokes-idiots, whomever they are, they were saying, no, they were provoked because, the Jews were tearing down Palestinian flags and burning them. Is that what Jews do? Where have they done that? It's the opposite. And so, first the police in Amsterdam were overrun. There weren't enough of them. Then they brought in reinforcements. The Prime Minister of Israel, great man that he is, he ordered the IDF and the Mossad, in coordination with the Dutch government, to go to that part of the world and to rescue their people and bring them home. And that's what they did, to a great extent. The first evacuated Israelis who landed in Israel from Amsterdam, they told of the horror, how they were running for their lives, running into alleys, how others were beaten within an inch of their lives. How it was completely set up, that different parts of the roads and the alleys that they were chased into and so forth, it was all a plot and all planned. Now this is horrible. The Dutch king condemned the anti-Semitic attack on Israel, the Israeli soccer fans. The Dutch king said, effectively, we let you down during World War II and we've let you down again. Let me just say this. I've said it before, and I've come under attack for it. The backbenchers will repeat it when they think the coast is clear, but I don't really care. There has been a revolution by immigration all over the world. All over the world. There was a Muslim crusade that was followed by, you've heard, the Christian crusades. Lots of condemnation of the Christian crusades. But that Christian crusade at least began with the idea that they needed to push back against the Muslim crusade. Well, let me tell you a little secret, which isn't a secret to the jihadists and the Islamists. But it's not allowed to pass your lips in the Western world, and certainly not in the United States, and certainly not behind this microphone. You're witnessing a second Muslim crusade. And it is this mass migration into Western Europe. It's this mass migration into the United States, into the Western world. It is something that is being promoted by the jihadis and the Islamists. They've promoted it in writing. I have the sources myself. And so you're now seeing where the head rabbi in France said there won't be a Jew left in France in 10 years. They're all going to have to leave, and urged them to leave. Now you can see in Amsterdam what took place there. Horrendous. Horrendous. You see what's happening in London, England. You see what's happening in New York. It's exactly what it is, a second Muslim crusade. But this one is funded by the jihadis and the Islamists and their states. Qatar, among others. Iran, even their front groups, actually Hamas. That's what's going on in Europe. That's what's going on in the United States. And nobody will tell you this but me, this second Muslim crusade, led by jihadists and Islamists. And as I say, you see them in the streets. There have been organizations that have done a great job, like Heritage and others, like the George Washington University, that studies terrorism and terrorist funding, and others that have focused on the fact that this money's coming into our country, funding students. What is it? Students for in Palestine, yes. And all these other front groups. And I'll have more to report on that probably next week in a big way. Students for Justice in Palestine, of course, excuse me. Got the word justice. I'm stunned at the lack of outspokenness against what's taken place here in Amsterdam. I'm stunned at it. The lack of outspokenness by political leaders of both parties. It's appalling.